Let's start by adding some things to our SAP 2000 model. The first thing we're going to add is a material definition. As we want to keep our code simple and fast to run, we'll be depending on manually launched SAP 2000 instances instead of opening our own. We don't want to wait for SAP 2000 to launch every time we want to test if we can add a material correctly, so it's better to skip this. Let's add another worksheet called Materials. Next, we'll add a button to insert a new material definition in our SAP 2000 model. Let's also add another code module called Material Creation. This doesn't do much in terms of functionality, but it helps us manage our code better. Just to keep it simple, we'll make this macro add a hard-coded steel material. Let's define an integer return variable, a helper, and a SAP 2000 object variable. We don't need to add a SAP 2000 model variable for now. Later we'll be using one because it will make our code more readable, but since we're making very simple functions, there's no need for us to do that, and we can access the model through the SAP 2000 object. Let's set our helper and get the active SAP 2000 instance as we did before. Now to add the material itself. First, we'll need to have a look at the API documentation. I know it's been a while since we last did that, but it's an integral part of learning how to use an API. To find the function that adds a material definition, we'll need to go to the API Functions tab, then Definitions, Properties, Material. Here, we'll find the first function on the list, which is aptly named Add Material. However, this function is actually a bit more complicated since it requires region and standard codes to work, and we'd need to access the CSI Material Library XML file to get those codes. Instead, further down we have the SetMaterial function. Let's click on it to see what it needs. Here, we see we have 5 parameters. The first parameter is the name parameter, which specifies the name of a new or existing material property that we want to create or alter respectively. Next, we have the material type, which is an enumeration. And, in fact, we don't need to provide the final 3 parameters since we can see here on the function definition that they are optional. Optional parameters are a kind of parameter that the user does not need to provide since, most times, the function uses these parameters with default values. Only in specific circumstances do they need to be provided separately. That's all we need then. Let's copy from the example code. And the example is actually already set up because we do want a steel material. If we wanted another type of material, all we had to do was change the value of this second parameter to another type within the enumeration. Let's just add an error and confirmation message to finish up. Done. Now let's launch a SAP 2000 instance and see if it works. We actually got an error message. So, what went wrong? Time for a little debug session. Let's go to our code and add a breakpoint. Breakpoints are specified lines in code that we can mark so that, when the program is running, it will automatically stop there, allowing us to proceed with the execution of the code in a more manual fashion. To add a breakpoint, we simply need to click the gray part at the left of our code line that we want to pause the execution at. Let's add one to our line that adds the material definition. Now we can press the Run button or simply press the button on our worksheet and the code will stop there. Now the code is paused right where we are. To proceed to the next line, we'll press the F8 key to see what the return variable tells us. If we hover over the return variable, we can see that it has a value of 1. This means that there was something wrong with the function that wanted to add a material definition. So, what's the issue? Well, we can look at our SAP 2000 instance and get an understanding of what might be going on. All of the relevant menus are grayed out. Because we have an empty model, we can't add any definitions to it. Let's fix it by adding a blank model. It's important to note that an empty model is not the same as a blank model, though it is understandable why one would be confused about that. Okay, let's press the Run button or the Stop button to end our code execution. Let's run our code again and see if it fixes it. But first, don't forget to remove the breakpoint, otherwise the code is going to stop there again. And there we go. Everything is working correctly now. Let's just go to our SAP 2000 instance and verify that we have a new steel material. And there we have our new steel material.